Welcome to another episode of Midlifers podcast. We have a special guest here today with us. We have Chris. Chris is a wedding photographer based in Singapore. Of course, you have your usual two duos. You have Ian there, fellow midlifer, and me, Prashana. I'm a midlifer as well, and I believe Chris is actually a midlifer as well.
Yes.
So, yeah. So Chris, I know you are a wedding photographer, but before we delve into that subject deep, I think as photographers, we always have guests, lah. We always acquire gear. We're always looking for the latest and greatest. I think Ian just bought something new. Ian, do you want to share the thing that you got?
Okay, so I got a few new things recently.
Wow.
It is pretty heavy, and is this chunky boy.
Wow.
So this is the Sony 28 to 70 f2. It is a pretty big lens lah. And
What's
I
the
haven't really
filter
used
thread
it
on
much yet. It's 86 mm. So I got this because I thought this would be great for video because of the f2, and I don't really need 24 mm for video lah. So I think this is perfect. But the size is a bit questionable because you can see it's so thick, right? And this is my bottle, and it's bigger than the bottle.
It's not that heavy, right? It's like 900 grams.
Yeah, I think
like
the weight is okay because the weight is quite balanced. So the weight is probably balanced like this on the camera. So it's like here. So when you hold it's not so bad. If you use like the Sigmas or Tamrons, I think the weight is all in front. So as you zoom out, right, it'll be like.
If you put it on a gimbal, I think it still can like the more sturdy one.
Yeah, this is our gimbal. I tried it already. It only extends like this.
Oh, that's the maximum.
So that's the maximum. So it's just like this. So it's pretty nice lah.
Yeah lah. Then I think it's very easy to balance on a gimbal.
Yeah.
Some they stick out a lot, then you have to rebalance. I also didn't know they make 86 mm filters.
Okay, so this is a Zeiss filter. It's original Zeiss.
Yeah, I think my 4x5 large format camera, the largest lens I have is like 82 mm filter thread. So this beats it by a lot. But I suppose the reason why it's light is because I think when we think of apertures, as in low or large apertures, we always think it's more glass, but actually it's just a larger iris, right? It's a ratio.
Okay, so there's a lot of glass in this. So I think this is like a technological marvel. I think it's like 20 elements inside this. Wow, so it is a lot of things going on inside. And the zoom mechanism, right? When you zoom it, you can see the inside actually moves in a lot also.
Yeah.
So a lot of things are going on inside. And the focus is extremely crazy. It is faster than any lens I've used, even though this is so chunky. So I guess Sony is going in the right direction, making pretty crazy lenses.
I think Sony's new lenses, right, are also going on the track of being lighter as well. You look at their 50mm, 80mm, right, 85mm. They're also all going lighter. So this is actually very light, for what it is. You compare to the Canon RF version, which is I think 1.4 kg.
That one is like strapping a brick onto your camera, and the lens is actually bigger. It's like I think wider also, and I think it extends out even longer. So that one's not very practical to use lah, I guess. Yeah. So this.
How do you find it so
practical.
far? Like you've used it for a few shots already, or?
I guess I tested it out. The usability wise, I think it is comparable to the 2470. I don't feel that it's actually harder to use. The size, you get used to it after a while because the weight is like 200 grams more only, so it's not that bad. Yeah. And then the size, because the balance doesn't shift so much, it's still, you don't really notice it lah. And the optical quality is, I think, one of the best lenses out there. There's almost no CA in a lot of areas. It really feels like a prime lens lah. So even f2 is super sharp. So it is the most usable lens at f2 lah. Cause a lot of prime lenses like back in the day, right? You can't use it wide open. You got to stop down.
Yep.
So I think this is quite amazing lah. It's also quite underrated lah. Because I think not many people use it, or not many people have gotten it yet lah. Because I think it's still pretty new. It's been out for a few months, less than half a year, I guess.
Is it on back order, like just like your?
No. I don't know. Somehow this thing is okay lah. So the A1, if you order it now, right, you only get it in June or something like that.
Oh really?
It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah.
There's still a back order. It's like worse
so
than
popular.
the Fuji. I don't know. It's like maybe they are making very little. They don't want to overstock it. So like maybe when they get enough orders, then they do one batch or something like that. I don't know.
I see.
Possibly,
When I got
possibly.
the A1, they said the orders weren't so great, you know. So
Yeah.
they had a lot. I guess the dealers were holding a lot of stock.
Yeah.
So I think this
So
is
the original A1 was, I think, I there's a lot of stock now. They're still trying to clear them. So they're offering them at a discount. It's like 7K new if you buy it lah. Which
that's a
is
pretty good deal compared to this one.
Yeah.
It's almost 9K.
Yeah. But that was the old gen lah. I mean, but you still can buy
Yeah.
it new. They still have new stock and
Yeah.
they will give you warranty for it. So I think if you're in the market for one of those, right, if you don't mind the previous gen one, you still can buy a new one. You save quite a bit.
If you need the fast frame rate, but you don't need the you know the absolute fastest, 120 frames. I
Yeah.
don't know what's that feature. Yeah.
But I think cameras have stagnated recently in the past months. All the new releases are rehashes of something that already exists. Like the S1R2 that released, right? It's just like a middle ground camera. It's nothing new. Features
but-
already exist in other bodies.
So I think that's the interesting thing because they
Yeah.
call it a flagship camera.
Yeah.
And I think when someone says it's a flagship camera, people, as in, what does it mean? Does it mean that it is that brand's best camera, or does it mean it's flagship in the sense that it can compete with other brands' flagship camera? So I think that's where when Panasonic touted it as a flagship camera, it caused a bit of hoo-ha lah,
Yeah,
with
yeah.
oh shit, what do you call it? That warping when you pan.
Oh, the rolling shutter.
Rolling shutter, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think people were expecting it to be like an A1, but how can it be like an A1 when it's not even the same price as an
It's
A1?
like it's like just more than half the price. It's like
Yeah, exactly.
it's half the price, seriously. So I don't
Yeah,
know why
yeah.
people are expecting it to compete with the highest of highest end at half the price. It's a bit unfair to them also lah.
Yeah, but I think
I
as a
think they're
value
comparing,
proposition, it's quite worth it, right?
Yeah. It is their flagship, which is their best camera you can buy, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
so
Chris,
that's
you were
why
saying
it's
something?
their flagship.
No lah. I think usually brands they compare to their own, their own series,
Yeah.
right? They don't really, especially when you say it's half the price,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think when people are talking about that, they like they talk about I think it's only the big brands who do that lah. Like Canon, Nikon, Sony. When they say like when they release the Z9 and the A1 Mark II, they are looking at other people. Whereas the smaller brands like Fuji and all that, where they're going in their own direction, then they won't really have that lah. Especially when the price is in a different bracket. How can you? I think the components they have a certain price as well. They have a global shutter, to have a fast readout, or the computer. It costs more already. So it wouldn't. Yeah.
And actually,
And
like
then
if you consider the Americans, or the tariffs are gonna hit them hard, especially when like half the cameras are made in like Vietnam, Thailand, Southeast Asia, and then and China. I'm sure I don't know what the prices are gonna be in the States after everything stabilizes. Like even I think Nintendo is a bit
Switch.
they just
Nintendo
they,
Switch
yeah
too.
they just released their new console, but then they weren't really sure what to price it at. I think until this tariff thing stabilizes lah.
They put
So
the
there's a lot
pre-order.
of delays. Yeah, there's a lot of delays for camera stuff also. So all the pricings of things have been pushed back. Launches also I think have been pushed back quite a bit because now it's totally quiet. And there are no rumors on pricings or anything. Everybody's like wait a while and see how they're gonna price it.
Yeah.
Correct.
I do hope
So
this
I got
tariff
something-
thing doesn't affect too much lah.
Yeah.
I think for us we will be somewhat insulated, but I think because a lot of times the cameras when they're released they're always priced in American dollars or euros, and then after it's released in the larger first world markets, then it trickles down to like places like Singapore, and then we get like a price point. So I just hope, because of the tariffs there, they like the companies, they don't like shortchange us and try to grift us by charging us
Increasing the
unnecessarily
price,
more.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like the knock-on effect lah. I think it's we have the lowest tariff level, but then they want to earn money, so they charge the rest of the countries lah. They just have a across the board increase in price, which is no good as
Correct.
Or
And it's
maybe
also
I
easier
hope
for them to justify.
Yeah.
I
hope they
like-
can absorb the tariff on their end.
well.
A bit lah.
104%.
Cannot lah. I cannot lah.
No, because it's on the price of the cost of the item. So it is not the full price you're paying, and then the tariff is like their price. So I don't know how much they'll declare as the price lah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see.
So
how
it's
it
going to be
goes
less
lah.
than the full price, but we'll see if they can absorb it lah. If they don't absorb it, I guess it's who's going to
It's
buy
an
an A1, man? Yeah.
Then certain electronics are exempted now, but I don't think cameras are lah. Like mobile phones, laptops are exempted from that.
Wow.
Don't know,
Okay.
man.
Yeah. So I got something
maybe
new
Prash was
recently also.
Yeah, okay.
I got a Minox C. So Rice Ball had like this
Cool.
mystery box competition kind of thing. So I went there. I think we filmed it. Not sure when we're gonna post it or if we're gonna post it.
We are
But
going to
I
post
got
it,
this-
but I haven't seen the footage yet because I wasn't there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ian wasn't there. He was away. So so I got this cool little sub miniature spy camera. I'm actually trying to look for film for it. There's only seems to be one place that sells it at the moment. It's some place called Blue Moon. But it's
This
quite
is
cool.
not 110, is it? This is another
Apparently
sort
it's
of
not
format, is
110.
it?
I thought it was 110
Okay.
actually.
Yeah, I also
But
thought it was 110.
I also thought it was 110, but actually it's like a mini cassette. It's smaller than a
Oh,
110.
okay.
Yeah. Then I've been trying to read more about this camera, but apparently they used it like in
It's a spy camera, yeah.
Yeah, it's really like a spy camera kind of thing. So, but I do wonder like what kind of fidelity you could actually get with film that's maybe just 8 mm across. You know?
I guess it's like
Super
for
8,
copying
You can re-spool Super 8 inside there.
copying documents, I guess. I don't know. You know, like when if you
Yeah.
want to take a photo of some
But then even
document,
then you can't be in like a dimly lit room like without anyone seeing you. You
Is
need
there
to
a
be in a
flash
bright.
on it?
There's
Yeah,
no flash,
true.
but it's auto exposure. That you can control the ISO, the shutter speed, and the distance you want to take. So funnily,
I thought you had one of these before. Did you have one of these?
I have an Instamatic camera.
Oh, it's not this one. Okay.
It is the Lomo 110 Instamatic. It's way fatter than this. I don't think it's here in the
Yeah.
room with me right now.
Because
Yeah,
it kind
but-
of reminds me of this.
Correct. So like you wind like that, and then
Yeah.
you shut. But this feels very premium. Like when you hold a
Yeah,
Leica,
yeah.
this
Yeah.
or like a Rolleiflex, it feels exactly like that. Then
Yeah.
the interesting thing is I got like some guy's camera. And I was telling Chris earlier, like back then, even for sub miniature cameras like this, the boxes are super nice. They're like, velvet and everything. And they can't
I don't think this was cheap. I think this was like maybe 1,000 plus or
for sure, like,
more
but
than
it's still
that,
a
yeah.
sub miniature camera, so I would think it's cheaper than your 35 mm,
Yeah.
And it comes like engraved with your name and all that printed out. Funnily, we have the guy's address.
Is it a local guy?
It's a local
maybe
guy.
it's a
local
special
guy.
edition. Maybe it's a special
Yeah.
edition or something.
Yeah. Then I actually have like the warranty card with his full name and address here.
Oh,
so
man.
I'm like, maybe we should try to touch base with him. I don't know.
So when was this? When was this released? Like when was the production date? Is there a date there or something?
Oh, I can't remember. Wait, let me see. So
Like
this
on the
was
warranty
bought-
card, is there a date?
Like a
This
purchase
was
date,
bought-
so can date it.
Let me see. Give me a moment. It doesn't have a date. Yeah, it only has his name, his address, and his occupation, which says he's a
Okay.
merchant. Totally a spy,
Not
man.
a spy. Yeah, not a
You
spy.
have
Totally
to
not a
put-
spy.
Yeah.
Put
Yeah, but-
your occupation down there.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, like I thought it was quite fun. The whole giveaway. I think the problem was that many people weren't happy because it was take the camera as is. So you don't wanna pay $50 and get a dud at the end of the day. But I think
Yeah.
a lot of us, we had quite a bit of fun and we got something interesting. Met Bobby Tonelli and a few other, I guess, YouTube characters. They talked to them briefly. I think it was quite a fun experience. Maybe Rice Ball can do another one. I think, put an M6 somewhere in there, and you.
Then the
have a
blind
few
box
more
will be
box-
like $2,000, $2,000
No lah,
blind
just
box.
get
Like,
a lot of boxes and one M6 lah.
uh,
I think
empty
that'd be
boxes,
quite fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
No lah,
You have a lot of empty
So-
boxes to recoup your cost.
could, but I guess that's the mystery box. But they can throw in a pack of film lah. Yeah. So that's something new. Now I'm hunting for the film. I don't know how it's gonna go because I need to find the cassettes and the film. Someone online suggested I 3D print the cassettes and do like a film splitter
self-spooling.
and self spool it. So I use like razor blades to cut the film 35mm. But I think the first one maybe I'll just buy off the shelf.
Okay.
Try
Okay.
it. See whether
I
it
have a
works.
printer in the corner somewhere. If I can get it started again, we can try funny shit.
3D printer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a photo printer somewhere.
How are you
The
going
photo
to
printer
cut
is
the
here.
35mm film in the dark?
So it's like a 3D printout thing with two razor blades sticking out. You put the film through and you just pull.
Then you just pull. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's not
there's
you
there's
cut
like
like
a
that,
device. There's like a device.
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, it's a
But you
3D
need to
printed
print.
device.
You need to print the spool also, right?
Spool.
The cassette.
Yeah, the cassette, correct. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's the thing lah. So but I think buy off the
I think you
shelf
should
one
buy
first.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, buy it
'Cause
first just to
you
make sure
can
the
reuse
camera
it.
works.
Yeah.
And if the camera works, then we try the funny shit with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it need
So-
batteries?
Yes, I need to get like special batteries. Apparently, the camera needs to have the batteries needs to be in a plastic housing.
Okay.
Because if not, it can short the camera.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, because it's okay. Basically, the battery it requires are old. It's a very old battery that's no longer in production. But you can circumvent it by using button batteries stacked up together. But the problem is the button batteries have contacts at the side in metal, right?
Yes.
If
Just
that
gaff tape
touches
it or
the
something.
metal housing, either gaff tape it or as in you need to insulate it somehow lah. Yeah, but I think when I buy the pack of film, I'll get the battery and then we will give it a go.
Okay.
I think it's gonna be quite fun.
Okay. Okay.
Then, but I think
So
Chris also
looking
has.
forward to that.
Yeah. I think that's
can
gonna
take
be
some
another
spy-
series.
Yeah, sneaky
I want to
photos.
see you try to develop that teeny like strip of film.
self-develop
Self-develop.
your film.
Yeah, I
Cut
don't
it
know
as
how I'm
well.
gonna scan it also lah.
Yeah.
I may need to take photos of it, but let's see how it goes lah. I'm quite
Yeah.
positive. I think Chris,
Yeah.
you also got something not too
Yeah.
long ago, quite something
So
recently,
not too
right?
long ago, I was in Japan in January, so I picked this up. I think with all the tax-free and everything, it turned out to be quite a deal. So this is the Pentax 17. I first saw it. You were talking about Bobby Tonelli. I met him at a wedding which I was shooting. He had this in his hand. So I just walked up to him. And then like I saw, oh, it's this camera. He let me handle it a bit. So I really like it because I just have a backstory about why I bought this. The main reason is that it is a modern camera with a modern warranty and it works, So why I say that is because I have I like to play with these compact cameras. I don't want to do something so complicated. So I bought actually a Nikon 35 AF as well as the Konica. There's one of the popular ones, AF or something, So I had these two, right? Both of them broke within 1 week. I
1
bought
week.
them-
Okay, that is
Yeah.
the bummer.
So I've not had very good luck with that. So I told myself the next vintage or next film camera that I buy, compact camera, I'm gonna buy a new one. So there was this what was that one? The Rollei 35 AF. So at the
Yeah.
time where I bought this, I think that one just came out, and that I just wanted something simple and something that works. So I picked this up in Japan. And I've been having a lot of fun with it. The exposure is really good. Like I took a picture of my wife and daughter in backlit. Normally you do that with the vintage camera and all that. It'll be just like a silhouette. But then I think maybe I put a plus 1/3 or 2/3 EV, and then it is fully exposed nicely. And then the sun rays are coming in. I haven't had a really bad shot with this one. All the bad shots are you forgot which zone you have put it on. But because the depth of field is so deep, right? There was one. Some of the shots I posted up on some of the forums, right? I even like you put the very close up one. I don't know what's that, like 0.7 meters. And then I was taking a subject far away. I think the depth of field is enough that it's a usable shot lah. So it's good. I've put a few rolls through it. You can take 72 shots, so you take quite a while.
Yeah, it takes a while to finish one roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, even
not easy.
You don't want, when you shoot a film, you don't want to spam, right? It's very different from digital.
Yeah.
So yeah, you take one or two shots of a scene and then you move on already. So you realize that actually you don't. And then the keepers from this are quite a lot. I probably keep like 20-30 shots from 72. So yeah, I'm very happy with it. I think that if you don't need a lot of manual controls, I think this is a great camera. You can force it into f3.5, which is the shallowest. So I think if you want bokeh, you can have it. The flash is good if you're into that. The new direct flash look. Yeah. So I like it. It's a cool little camera. Yeah. And influenced by these guys lah.
Actually, I kind of liked it lah. Yeah, I like the camera, except it was a bit expensive here. So if you got it for a cheaper price, I think it's worth it.
Yeah, I mean Singapore is about 800 plus.
Right? $800. Yeah,
just below 700.
Yeah.
In
700.
Japan.
I think that is a fair price. I think that's a good price for it lah. 800 is a bit steep.
Yeah, actually, right. I was hearing through the grapevine that the camera hasn't been selling well lah. But I would think like price plays a huge part in that lah.
Yeah,
I think we
of
always
course.
allude to the fact that there's no bad camera; they're just poorly priced. So I think that probably has to do with it. But as like Chris rightly pointed out, like I've also bought like a point and shoot Olympus XA. Within a month, it kaputs. So in the end, you spend on 2-3 like non-warrantized cameras. It actually comes very close to the cost when you add in film and all that. Yeah. So
I think the only kind of vintage cameras you can safely buy would be your Leicas or the Nikon Fs, because those are reliable. I think the rest are hit and miss.
I think the reason for that is because these are mechanical cameras. When you're talking about Leica and all that, like they can be serviced, right? You can salvage old parts. Whereas the cameras that I have, they have digital components like circuit boards, and when they go bad, right, you have to salvage from another camera, and then it's not worth it. Right? You have to spend another don't know how much, and then the technician has to be able to fix it again. So I think if you want to buy a vintage camera, you buy something mechanical. Like
and also like if let's say your point and shoot that you got the vintage one is $200, labor for actually just a CLA of like a camera can be $400. So it makes no sense to even go into repairs. CLA can be so expensive. Then in that case, you might as well just keep buying and throwing them away lah. When
especially the electronic ones can't be CLA'd properly, right? I mean, if it's spoiled, it's spoiled.
Exactly. Yeah, then you could CLA it and it could spoil the next day because the electronics could fail at any point. And if you think about it, the last of these cameras were made in the early 2000s, so they're approaching 20. Even the youngest of these cameras are approaching 20 years old. So that's way longer than what even your iPhone will last. Your current
it's way longer than what it was intended to last.
Yeah, exactly. So they've done a great job, but I agree with Chris. But I think because this was marketed to beginners and its price point was so high, maybe that's why it's not selling well. And then you had the guy heading the film division at Pentax just leaving. I'm not sure whether this had anything to do with this or not, but I think it's
I think maybe they cut his budget. They like no more cameras for you, so he quit.
Maybe I don't know, and maybe he got better opportunities. Who knows, But I think like it's definitely a blow to the film community, lah. Because I think everyone was hoping for Pentax to be the savior, because not everyone can afford a Leica, Yeah.
They should release the SLR, man. I think it will be like super well received.
They can just
anyway.
Back
to the correct topic for today. So we're introducing Chris. So
so big. Okay.
Yeah, not everyone knows who is Chris or what Chris does. So maybe Chris can introduce himself.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Chris. So I run the company which is very big down there. Okay, can make it small again. I run Chris Chang Photography. It's a wedding photography business in Singapore. I've been doing it since officially since 2012. Okay, so my site, what I do, I also do videography, not myself, but my colleagues, they do that. And so in the past, I guess 13 years, I've seen quite a few things happen in the wedding industry, in the photography industry. I guess when Prash and Ian reached out to me that they want to have this chat, about being a hobbyist versus professional photographer, I think there are a few things I can share lah. And
okay, that's cool.
Yeah, you can check out my Instagram lah. You don't have to show it now.
So your handle is at Chris Chang Photography is written there lah. Okay, so first question right that we have for you is how did you start your business?
Okay,
so like what got you into it?
Yeah, like
so I think
were you like a hobbyist wedding photographer, then you decided to start a business, or like you decided to like change career, something like that?
Okay, so okay, so to answer the first question, I didn't start out as a photographer. I went the usual route. You go to university, you took a degree, you go into a job that's related. So I did marketing, communications and new media at NUS. So I went to work for you know a publisher lah. Back in the day they were very good, but now not so much. I don't want to say the name lah. Okay,
Roughly how
so
many years ago was this? Like in the which
I
era?
share 2009,
Okay,
2000,
okay,
2009. Yeah. So
okay, okay,
I worked there. I worked there for 6 years. So
okay.
I guess to answer this question is how I think you have to date back to like how I started photography is like in NUS days, in the arts and social science, like faculty, you we always because we always have to write papers, right? So I really wanted a module where there's no exam and there's no papers. So photography was the only module that's like that. So I decided, I guess just take lah, Then my friends said, just take some photos, submit your portfolio, and then you get a grade and you get by. I wasn't the model student lah, so I went for it.
Okay.
And also when I was there, my dad is one of the early adopters of digital photography. He bought the very first digital camera, 1.5
Okay.
megapixels. He bought from
1.5.
Japan. Yeah, 1.5
Okay.
megapixels. And then when you take a photo, it takes 3 to 5 seconds to load your photo, and
Mm.
it's very, yeah. Anyway, so he's the photographer in the family, right? So when I needed like gear and all that, he would have it. And then from there, I got a little bit hooked lah. He bought me my first DSLR. It's a Canon 1000D.
Oh, it's
So from
Canon, not
there,
Nikon.
I wanted to buy Nikon D40, but then the
Okay.
salesperson told me don't buy that
Don't
one.
get a Nikon lah. Don't waste your money. You can find them in
Okay.
any rubbish bin.
Okay lah.
Yeah.
Don't. I don't want to make people angry lah. Huh? Okay, so yeah. Okay. Anyway, I bought the camera. Fast forward to 2012. I'm a hobbyist lah, so I take everything. Take micro lah, take the ends lah, go and take landscape. It's a very carefree. I really enjoyed photography. I'll wake up early. I used to stay in a high rise, so I'll go to the top floor and then I wake up at 7 a.m. and just try and take some photos, go and walk a Clark Quay, take the reflection. So that was my life lor. I enjoyed photography. Always had a camera with me, the 1000D lah, with the kit
Okay.
lens. And I begged my parents to buy me the 50 1.8. And I think
Okay.
that was it lah. So for quite a while. And after that, on 2012, my wife, I just got married then. So my wife volunteered me. I had a slightly better camera already. I think I had a 5D or something, because I started work already. So my wife volunteered me to shoot her friend's wedding, So it's like, huh?
That's
Volunteered
a bit
you.
high risk. That's a
That means
very
it's
high
free lah.
risk.
That means it's free. So she
Could
said you
make
will
or
be
break your
shooting.
marriage.
You'll be shooting so and so's wedding in on this date. So you go there. Then I remembered like going to look through my own wedding photos. Like, hey, what angle to take? Because yeah. So I looked through that. As I shot the wedding, I feel that like something clicked lah. And along the way, I think just backtrack a little bit. When you're on Instagram, you look at what kind of photos that talk to you. When you take photos, you don't really edit them, right? So you look at that, hey, how come my photo so dark one? And then like other people photo, because you look at the like pictures of brides and all that, they're very bright, very white, the colors are nice. And I say, hey, why people's photos so nice one? My one like black one. So maybe I should buy a better lens. 50 1.2 lah, or I didn't lah. I said, oh, maybe they got good lens lah. That's why they are, they have so nice photos. But along the way, you learn lah about editing, about gear, about depth of field, all the nice stuff. So I shot the wedding. I had a great time. I feel that something clicked lah, something resonated in me. That there's that excitement of capturing this genre of photography that I didn't feel in the others. And that's just for me lah. For different people, there's different different things will resonate with you. So for weddings, I used that as a portfolio. I only did one free shoot actually. Then I got another job because I posted on Facebook. Then this other person hired me, and then the other person hired me, you know, and some of my wife's friends hired me, and that's how I got started. And I was in my uh, MNC job. You know, the pay was good. You know, for what I was doing, and I guess, you know, if the next question you might have in mind is that, like, you know, when do you wanna leave your well-paying job to head into professional photography? For me, I did okay. I think a good thing is that you don't just jump into it. For me, I had a stable job, you know. You know, I had time to build up my savings. I had time to learn about working, the ethics of working, serving people, right? I was in sales, so eventually I was in sales. So I would face consumers, I would face businesses, and then
So when you got
you have to,
into wedding photography, you didn't like
yeah.
work for someone, you didn't learn from someone,
That's
you just went into it lah.
it's another
Yeah.
interesting thing. I wanted to, because I feel
Okay.
like, you know, I know how to do photography a little bit, but
Mm.
I do not know the business. I do not know nothing. So I reach out to different people, like my idols in the industry. I reach out to my own wedding photographer, but sadly he went overseas to study, so he couldn't take me. You know, and various people. But then there were all the doors were closed lah. You know, at that time in 2000, I think I was seriously considering leaving my job, because I was already doing it half half, you know, like a side hustle. So on almost every other weekend I'll be shooting, and then I had this very hectic job, right? In sales, and then I wanted to leave in 2015. I had a big push to leave lah, because there was some restructuring in my company, you know, and I decided at the very worst. I actually left at the very worst time, because my wife was pregnant with the second child. She just changed her job, and then I'm now going to quit my very stable job, well paying, and going to jump into a zero salary, you know, 100% commission job, you know, and I'm not super established in the industry. I didn't My books were not feel. I had like 3 weddings for the rest of the year. I quit in March, so that was where I was. But because of my advertising, I was in advertising sales lah. So because of my background, I knew the importance of advertising. So I advertised my business. I did what I could. Instagram. I think that time is Facebook lah. There's not so much Instagram, so it was Facebook. So I did. I posted quite frequently on Facebook. Did some advertising on Facebook, and the books filled up enough to let my wife. Actually, at the start, she said, "I give you 3 months. You go and play first. Because you look
But
so
actually
sad
3 months,
in."
3 months, 3 months is quite short. Actually, I would say like maybe take 6 months to a year.
Okay, so this is how it went.
Yeah.
So at first she said, why don't you just take 3 months, 6 months? Can't remember, it's such a long time ago. 3 months, 6 months, you go and play lah. You know, then after that come back and do the serious job. Right? So I think thank God for, you know, the how it turned out. So the books filled up enough that okay, I give you 1 year now. So after that she looked at how many jobs we had. I give you 1 year. Then after 1 year, she said that I think you're not going back to work already. So until today, lor. So yeah, and
Do you
problems.
ever regret this decision? Like, would you ever have thought that, oh, I would have been more successful if I stayed in my old job, kind of thing?
uh, yes and no, you know. So you always wonder. Sometimes I don't regret going to, on the whole lah. I don't regret going to photography. It's rewarding. It has enabled me to take care of my family. I feel that in terms of how financially viable it is, I think it's better if you're willing to work at it, not only just at your craft but at all the other areas. And it can be a lucrative business, and it can be better or the same as my peers lah in the industry, or in like people who didn't go out and you know, and set up
Okay,
their own
okay.
business. Yeah, but sometimes I
Okay.
also, like on LinkedIn, you see, wow, this guy last time I intern, no. Then now he's the
Yeah.
director. Then I say, how far
Yeah.
could I have went? You know, because
Yeah.
the only regret is that I've never had a big promotion in my job,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Like I've never had like another person. I've never been promoted to a director because I never stayed in the workforce long enough
Long
to.
enough. Yeah.
Yeah, so I wonder like, how I can 升级 until where, you know, like I can be promoted until where, like now.
Yeah.
Because like now, you can give yourself whatever title you want, you know. Your job, you can be emperor.
Yeah.
But then it also means nothing, you know. So you don't know how well you're doing or how poorly you're doing in terms of being, you know, a worker. Yeah. So I think that's the only thing. It's not a financial thing. It's more of a like self-actualization thing. If you know what I mean, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
but I guess like at the end of the day, shouldn't really compare in that sense lah. I think as long as you're happy doing what you're doing and it puts food on the table, puts a roof over your head, and you're happy, your family is fed. I don't think that, as in this comparison is just gonna bring you down lah. It's never gonna make you happy because there'll always be one other person that's either better than you, and you're never gonna compare with the guy worse off than you lah. You know?
But I mean,
Yeah.
you also should think about it in another way. Like you could have been worse off. Like you could have been, I don't know,
Yeah.
fired
Yeah.
from your job. You never know, you know.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm happy lah. You know
Yeah.
where I am. You know sometimes you just think lor. In like an alternate reality, how could your life
Yeah.
have been? Maybe if I studied harder, if I didn't leave my job, you know what I'll be doing now. Don't know, right or not?
Yeah.
So but I'm happy.
Like
with
we
where
also
I
don't
am.
know what we're doing lah. We don't know what we'll be doing in 10 years also.
Yeah, as in, I guess we are
Yeah.
all in like non-conventional corporate. We're not in corporate, so
Yeah.
so I think in a way we relate to Chris in this aspect lah. Cause
Yeah.
yeah lah. At the end of the day, we don't have like a salary that we can depend on, and there's no like hierarchical thing you can climb lah. It's all in
Yeah.
just made up fluff, you know.
Yeah.
So I think we kind of relate. But as someone who's just entering the industry, cause you had I would say the luxury of experiencing corporate, building
Yeah.
maybe some cushion to stabilize, and you had the support of your family to enter this industry. What would you suggest, like maybe a young person, not a midlifer, but say like someone just fresh out of uni do, if let's say they are really keen on pursuing this industry, how do you suggest someone approach to
Like they
enter
want
this
to
industry?
go straight into photography, is it? And
As
then
in,
they
let's say
studied
they've been,
something-
yeah, correct. Let's say they like taking portrait photography, and they think like, oh, actually this wedding industry seems okay. With such naivete, haven't ever experienced the stress of your SD card failures and all this lah. But still with
Formatting
that
your card.
fire burning in their heart, like as someone new. What would you recommend that they do? Like just to get a feel of this industry, to see whether this is the right fit for them, or maybe even like what is a path they can like go through so that at the end of the day they can be a successful photographer like yourself, lah.
Okay, so yeah, so I think that's a few questions, but I think one main thing is that I think at the start, everyone has to have that fire, that burning passion, at least at the start, right? It has to be so strong that you cannot sleep.
I mean, you have to like photography lah, or else you can't
Yeah.
do this lah.
I think more than just you there's a point that you're so naive that you think that this is all you want to do, even if you don't earn money. You have to have that foolishness at the start lah. Then that will drive you to realize slowly you realize the reality. I have to pay income tax, I have to pay tariff. But then before all of that nonsense, right, you have to say, okay, even if I eat bread every day, I will want to do this. So maybe if you have that mindset, okay, let's discuss lah. For me, I had a very different path. I had a job first because I would have jumped in straight, but at the start, but because of I'm answerable to my parents who put me through school. I have a wife. I have one kid already at that time. The second one was inside already, right?
I think this is a very Asian mindset. Like, we have to get a job first, then go and play
You
later.
have to
Because
study
if you're
well, get a
Yeah.
job, support your parents,
Yeah.
get married, have a kid,
Yeah,
and
correct.
somehow happiness would find you in all this. You know?
yeah,
I guess
so
we,
we're a
as
bit late to the
midlifers,
game lah.
we came
Yeah.
from that era, right? Whereby
Yeah.
we are still quite traditional. But I do
Yeah, yeah,
understand
yeah.
like my children are growing up in a very different age
Yeah.
as well. And there are people, okay, if I look back, I wouldn't know whether to say that I would have jumped in straight. But if someone is that passionate and you have that passion, right, there's nothing stopping you from doing it. Okay. Okay, I assume this person is just finished at their education.
I guess maybe any point in their life lah. I mean,
or
whoever
any
wants to
point
jump
in their
into
life.
it. Yeah.
Okay, I think number one, you have to have some portfolio, right?
Okay.
Related portfolio. It can't be of birds lah, of cars and
Birds.
jewelry. Yeah,
Yeah.
of wildlife or landscapes, and then you want to
Yeah.
shoot wedding because the consumer is risk averse, right? They want to
Yeah.
see that
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
have done something because
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
are
Of
not
course. Of
spent.
course.
It's not a token sum, right? You're charging thousands.
Mm.
I hope you charge
Mm.
thousands, right? So if you charge in the thousands, for a package, they will want to see, they want to meet you firstly, they want to see your work, and then they also want to compare with X number of other photographers. So if you have no portfolio, it's very difficult for you to get a job. So I think if you
Yeah.
want to have a great quick start, right? Um, if nobody wants to take you, it doesn't mean that take you on, to learn from them. If you can learn from someone, that's great. So, but
Mm.
not everybody wants to teach you, right? Not everybody, people like wedding industry now is not at its hottest lah. A lot of people are in survival mode. That means that
I
we
think
want to
this whole
sustain.
media industry, everybody is quite quiet now, lah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
so for wedding industry, it's definitely all this tariff everything. Although it doesn't
Yeah.
affect us immediately, it affects the mindset. It affects that,
Yeah.
yeah, things are going to get expensive. Maybe my wedding not so need so long. No need to have a so atas restaurant, right? So it does affect us. And then if people have simpler weddings, they have shorter coverages, they book less. And also if people, and then that, I think back to the question is that people, if you can have learn from someone who's experienced, just follow them for a few weddings, like say do for free, or you do the editing for them in exchange for some
Intern.
experience. You don't have
Yeah.
to you don't have to go for many. You go for pre-wed. I think maybe you go for five sessions for pre-wedding, for actual day. You roughly know how the thing works already. Okay.
Yeah.
But I think doing it and looking is very different lah. But at least you have some experience, and then you build out a
Yeah.
portfolio. Hopefully, the person allows you to shoot like from behind their shoulder and let you use the portfolio. I think that's not a common practice. Most people don't allow that. They say that, hey, well, I use my client, then next time you become my competitor or something, or they want you to work for them. So
Or you can ask
work
friends
for.
lah, I guess. If you have a lot of friends who are getting married, right? You offer to like maybe just do some free casual shoots for them first lah.
Yep.
Or like
Yeah,
those
You can do like a
kinda-
pre-wedding shoot for
yeah.
free.
and you want
Just
it to
dress
be good
simply.
also. You want it to be
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
really good and hard hitting shots lah, so that you
Yeah.
catch the attention of people. So I think that's it. You need a portfolio lah. Somehow find a way to build a portfolio. I would say you need like 3 to 5 good pieces of portfolio. Then you can put a website ma. If not, you have one wedding, how to fill up one page.
How about like I don't know, paying for models to model for you? What do you think about that?
Weddings
To get,
is two
like-
people. It's two people
Yeah.
lah. I think to a certain extent you can, but for if you pay someone to model for you, right? Then it will only come under the pre-wedding category, and then
Yeah,
you
yeah,
will
yeah,
have to
yeah.
hire a guy and a girl, right?
Yeah.
If you want to show pre-wedding, because after a while people are aware of this thing called style shoot, ma.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, so they will say, oh, this style shoot, okay, you can shoot nicely. How about couple shot? Do you have? Then don't have. So you have to have that. Then you have two friends, lor. You can do for your friends as a start, but I think also you have to have some source of inspiration also, lah. Where your artistic, what the industry wants versus what you can do, and then you come up with your own personal style, and to keep that relevant across the years.
Okay.
10 in the past 10 over years,
Okay.
what the industry wants is very different already.
So this
Correct.
one leads to our next question is like how do you manage your clients and the trends? Like if you see a trend, right, do you immediately jump on? Do your clients immediately want it? Like the old vintage look, then
Out
that
of
kind
focus,
of thing.
wrong
Yeah.
aperture.
Yeah, those kind of weird
I
things.
guess if you are just starting out, right, you should follow the trend and try to copy it as much as possible.
Okay.
Right, because you're not known for any style, right? You're not known for any style. Once you start, I think in any way, anything that you do, you have to copy first, ma. You copy what is a good. Even you do compo writing, you have to copy a good compo first, ma. So you copy a good photographer. If you can at least copy until it looks nice, right? Like when I started, there was this aesthetic, the crushed
Yeah.
black color. So everything is like hazy one.
The super
So
contrast or the
you
lifted
just
blacks
copy,
kind of thing.
and then after a while, when you are shooting and then you are following, something will speak to you. Okay, this aspect of it speaks to me. I like it bright color. I don't like these crushed blacks. Okay, I like this. Okay, then in another shot, I like it natural lah. Natural. Or I like the sunlight coming from here. So soon you will gather what you like, and because at the start you don't know what you like and you don't like, you are overwhelmed. Oh, what style should I go? Then there's no direction. So at the start, maybe you do fall, and you have to be relevant also lah. Cannot say I stick to my guns forever. But then when you are in the industry for a long time, people do come to you for your style, and your style cannot immediately. This iPhone cannot suddenly become triangle shape, right?
True, true.
It
You
has to
cannot just keep
evolve
changing
slowly.
lah.
Yeah, it has to
Yeah.
evolve very slowly. So when
Yeah.
some things they work already, you have a business that's run on that. You don't evolve anymore. You just have small iterations. But at the start, right, you have to be very flexible, as to say, okay, what does the industry, what can I do now, and then we find a way. And along the way, you will find yourself lah. You will find like, okay, this is my style, this is what I like, and then you should always be truthful to yourself lah. When you shoot something, you feel like, hey, this one is not my style lah. Everybody like it, but I shoot already. I feel like there's this imposter thing. I'm trying to pose,
Yeah.
So
I
don't do
think
that
I
lah.
think the people can see also if like you're trying too hard. Like
Do
somehow
some-
it shows lah.
But I think in the
Yeah.
beginning, I think Chris, you mentioned something. You have to look at existing shots, the angles that they take from. Maybe look at the lighting. Because as a beginner, it's not like you appear there and then magically nice photos are gonna appear. Because sometimes, especially with wedding couples, they're very stiff. They don't know how to pose and all this.
Yeah.
So all this actually, and on top of that, the soft skills. Because if you're not really comfortable with your photographer, you can have the best camera, you can have the
Yeah.
best couple, but if the rapport isn't there, the photos, it will show in the photos actually. So I like the fact that Chris mentioned that you have to do some kind of preparation lah. You need to know a bit of how to pose your models. You need to know which angles to take from, which lighting to take from, and in the beginning you actually have to spend a lot of time planning these things, so that eventually when you're taking your 100th wedding photo, it's actually muscle memory. You're not thinking about it anymore, and I think that's something that actually many people don't realize is a very, very big skill. And I guess like the fact that you were in a corporate environment which is more client facing probably helped you a lot. Just that it's soft
Yeah.
skills. It's not something you would have.
Yeah.
It's not something you can say like, oh, I've achieved this. You don't get a competency for handling clients the best.
Yeah.
You don't get a cert or anything like that. But this is something that is amazing and probably will. Maybe that's why you're successful as well. Who knows? Yeah.
I mean, like, there's also a point also. Yeah, you raise a good point about like preparation work and all that. Like, I think a lot of people don't realize that, because when you say initially you talk about passion, right? Like photography and all that. It's passion for the act of doing photography, and so you love doing photography, but you know that when you run a business, photography, I think 20% only. So there's also bulk of the time you are, as a business, there's so many things you have to do. You need to have to manage your CRM, your email, your advertising campaign, your collaboration with partners, clients. Each client is a project, so you think about wedding photography as an ongoing project for the next 6 to 9 months. They'll have questions. If you have maybe they don't only book you for actual day, they book you for pre-wedding, overseas shoot, local shoot, ROM shoot, what time to go there, when, each couple, and then you manage your calendar. So there's a studio management aspect of it as well. There's a client facing, you have to reply the email or text on time, right? You don't, like, a few days later then they say, hey, you're not responsive, and then we are waiting for your input and all that. So that
Yeah,
takes up
that's the worst.
80% of my time.
Yeah.
I shoot like a successful wedding photographer. I tell you, you have one pre-wedding during the week, and you have shoot 2 weddings over the weekend. You're super successful already, I feel, without
And you'll be
burning out,
super busy already.
yeah, you're
Yeah.
dying already, right? So
Yeah.
I try not, as I'm going to my midlife, I try not to do that lah, because I feel that it is detrimental to my health and my and the burnout rate. You don't want to be burnout. I've been doing for 10 years already. You can burn out 10,000 times
Yeah.
already. So
I'll be offline for a bit. I'll be back in 2 minutes. I need to
okay.
let Kelly.
Okay, so I
okay.
think like
Yeah.
Chris, you were mentioning about this burnout thing, right? Is
Yeah.
there anything like you do to reset? I suppose the Pentax 17 or your film photography is one
Yes, yes.
area you kind of reset, right? Because I think like for us who work on weekends, right, it becomes very, very difficult to reset socially sometimes because our friends are only available on weekends. But then we are working on the weekends, you know. So how do you actually like, as in, you can't really always go, unless there's a public holiday or what lah, you know. You
Yeah.
make special arrangements, but not, if you have kids, you know lah. Last
Yeah.
minute, one might be vomiting, one might have a fever, and it might just derail
Yeah.
your plans. But
Yes,
how
yes,
do you
yes,
actually
yes.
reset when you're verging on like burnout and all this, especially having been in the industry for so long?
I think burnout is inevitable, right? Especially when you're busy and then you're building your brand, your business. There has to be a period where you work a bit harder than your latter years lah. So for me, it was definitely at the start. Looking back, sometimes when my business is not as good as past years, or even like you compare it to um, previous years where it was doing better without this tariff nonsense. My wife would say that, hey, you don't be so sad because now you spend a lot of time, you have more time to spend with your kids. Your kids are so close to you, and then we have you around. She said last time, which I didn't realize, it's a
Yep,
rude
yep.
awakening. Like she said, hey, you're not around one. She tell her friends like, hey, so you have like family time. Say my husband is always not around. So I always be on a shoot, on a meeting. I'll be doing something, or locked up in my room, doing editing because the client need it already. So
Yep, yep, yep.
you you have to that it will be something that you have to manage and have to decide for you. You have to draw the line, where does work end and your family, and your other priorities, have to come to the forefront lah. Because it's very easy to just lock yourself in the room, because at the start you'll be working from home. Don't tell me you work in like an office or anything.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you can easily work 24/7. I wake up, I work
Correct.
until at night, and then my kids sleep already. I continue working until 1 a.m. And then every day you do that, 1 2 a.m. 1 2 a.m. And then I think it's very important for someone who is coming in the industry to recognize that, and to also practice self-care lah. Sometimes as a young person, no need lah. I'm so young. I can take it with
Hustle
hustle.
culture lah, right?
It will shorten the longevity of yours. I think similar with a lot of with
Professions
work
lah.
in
As in,
general.
at the
Yeah,
end of the day, you want to do this profession for 20, 30, 40 years.
yeah,
It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. As in, you can sprint as much as you want, but your gas is gonna run out. And I completely agree with you on that. And I think the fact that you're cognizant to that's amazing. Many people don't even realize it until they start burning out a little lah. And I guess that's why your wife, when she pointed it out, it came as an eye opener lah.
yeah. I think you have to have. I think when we talk about reset, it has to have a few aspects to it lah. I think you cannot. You have to have a hobby outside of photography, and you also have to have a hobby within photography. You cannot say that,
Okay.
oh, my hobby, my real interest is no longer photography, because when you, let's say, you like photography, right? Then you do it every single day, every single week. You will get tired of it lah. Don't tell me that you won't lah. I tell you, you
Yeah, yeah.
will. There is your Sony A1 Mark 5 is not going to be fresh anymore. And then you use all the 0.95 lens until you are so sick of it. You have tried every single lens already. You have tried every pose. You have tried every genre. So you're a bit tired of it already. And then when you're tired of it, you still have to do it. Because you have jobs lined up. Okay, and then you don't feel like going. You feel like staying in bed, but you have to go to the 4:30 a.m. wedding. You have to wake up for your landscape shoot that you have even earlier, right? So you do get tired of it. So you have to have something to escape from it. For me, I like cycling. I'm very fortunate that I have some friends who are also self-employed. So during the week we can go cycling at any time. Okay, but let's say that's not the case. If you're a photographer, I guess you're also a bit of a lone wolf lah. You can spend time with yourself, right? So find an activity that you can do by yourself. Can be even like playing game at home, watching some TV, relaxing, and then totally disconnecting from your work is very super important. Because I've had staff in my company, right? They were like bright shining stars, like burning so brightly, but for 3 months. After that,
exploded.
crash and burn,
Yeah.
crash and burn, and then want to leave the company. Not because I am a slave driver, but because they have burned so brightly, they burn up the next 10 years of thing with no rest. So yeah, I think that's super. And then I also think that you cannot say that, oh, my true love is not photography. It cannot be that. There's a point in my life where that happened. Like, okay, I do photography as work, but my true love is not it's actually bicycle. It's actually collecting XYZ, be it whatever
But
they
I
like.
guess you got to be realistic also. I mean, you still need to earn money. You still need to feed your family, right? So if you got to do it, you got to do it lah.
Oh no, you
mean,
definitely have to. Now
Yeah.
you definitely have to do it, and then you promise the client. You can't say that I am taking
that's why.
this industry. There's no MC one,
Yeah.
There's no today I'm not well.
Yeah.
I think if you're sick, and you're not lying in the hospital bed, you have to go.
I think this is the most difficult thing about especially doing weddings. If you're doing other shoots like client shoots or what, we can reschedule lah. It's still possible too, but for wedding, you can't ask them to change the day of the wedding.
No.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
can't.
Yeah.
And then when they book you. They didn't book
exactly.
your colleague. Even if it's under the same brand, Christian Photography, right?
Yeah.
I say, hey, today I'm going to send Ian to do the shoot. They say, who is Ian? Okay lah. Then we hear half price lah, or there's some sort of offset, because I don't know who he is. I'm taking a risk. I didn't hire him. I hire you, and then you're so sick. So you have to also think about like whether you want to, if you are someone who does high risk activities, you have to rethink your lifestyle also, because this job you need your hand and leg.
I mean, you can just buy enough insurance so that you can retire if you get injured lah.
No lah, but
okay,
it's
and those
unlikely
insurance
you will get. It's unlikely you'll get that kind of injury. That's the problem. The problem is like you will sprain your wrist and then maybe you cannot work for a week or two. But then this might be like wedding season. So it and the thing is, it's not like you're gonna stop working after that. So your name is destroyed already. And if it's like a few bad reviews and you're GG. Yeah. So
I once fell down the stairs and I had a small shoot the next day. It's like a graduation shoot, so it's not so I couldn't lift up my arm. It's not like I'm disabled or anything, but you take your waist. I can't lift up my arm.
You can follow the hipsters like everything waist level lah. I don't know why they like it lah.
I can't even waist level. Like I'm walking.
Just
like
hang it around your neck and then just shoot like that.
I was in so much pain that I said, I know you see lah. Tomorrow get do the shoot lah. Then my wife insisted I went to the hospital. They wheel me on a wheelchair. Then my wife took a photo. They say you send this to your client lah.
Yeah, I mean, no matter what you send to your
cool
client, I mean, they will still be like, I mean, it's a bit annoying that you were injured lah. I mean, they will still be a bit annoyed lah.
I mean, it's
even though they are cool with it, right? Yeah, they will still be annoyed
lah.
lah.
Contract also. You have to have a strong contract with that. You say that if the person gets injured and all that, then what will you do lah? And then so they expect it, and then you have to go through with them. So this is not like totally unexpected. I say yes, we talk about what if I'm injured, and then this is what you're going to do. So you have to have a strong contract as well.
Yeah.
And then you have
So
to
do you like preempt them? Like, let's say like you tell them if I'm very sick or like got COVID or something during that time lah, then if you can't turn up, then what is the contingency? Do you tell them exactly what happens?
Yes. So right now for my company, we have a team, a small team. So if I can't, then my colleague Zach, he'll go and shoot. If he can't, I'll go and shoot. But there are days, what if both of us are working, So we also have a team of like associates, freelancers, who can step in. It's not the ideal but then when you're talking about all this, you're talking about freak accident. How about halfway during the wedding you fall down?
Yeah, that's why.
Right. Yeah. There's no
or like on the way there you get some accident or something, it's unforeseen lah.
Yeah, and I also had once the during COVID period, the groom could not make it for his wedding. The wedding continued. Wedding dinner. Yeah, and he
how
appeared,
do you
because there's no refund, there's no nothing. The restaurant didn't give them a refund, so it wasn't a full day wedding lah. It's just a dinner time.
Okay.
So he appeared on Zoom lor. Then I think
that will be one of your most memorable weddings, right?
Yeah,
it's
he
like
tapao it there.
Yeah.
And what if the bride and groom is sick? You know, I'll ask
Yeah,
them
that's
back.
why.
What if the bride
Yeah,
and groom is sick? What if you have COVID? Then do you still pay me? You know, so
yeah,
and then I booked the day for you for 1 year already. No, then I rejected the 10 clients. So
yeah.
it goes both ways lah. So we try and work it
Mm,
out when the thing comes. But
mm,
if there is, we have this backup for you. You won't have zero photographer. You know, and if
mm.
you have zero photographer, everyone has COVID in Singapore, then we give you a refund lah.
Yeah, I mean
Fair, what?
that's like
Fair, what, right?
super
Yeah.
unforeseen. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
we cover as many bases as we can,
yeah,
you know, and then
yeah,
we try to manage clients' expectations.
yeah.
It's very important to do
Okay.
so, yeah, as much as
So I
possible.
think we don't have much time. So last question for today. Uh, how do you manage your guests, and how do you like decide what to buy for the company, and what kind of gear do you buy? Personal use versus company use.
Yeah, because
I
like I
think,
think as
yeah,
a business point of view, right, everything has to make money at the end of the day, and it has to
Yeah,
perform reliably and consistently. You cannot
yeah,
afford to, willy nilly
yeah,
change to a new item or new system and then have
yeah,
everyone, not know the system, or
yeah,
maybe it takes so much money that break
yeah.
even becomes so unattainable, right?
okay, yeah.
So I think a lot of hobbyists don't get that running a business is a bit different from, being a hobbyist where you can justify any amount of money to spend on anything because I like it, you
Mm.
know. But
I think that's
if
the
you're running a business, it
beauty.
needs to be justified, right?
Okay. I think that's the beauty of like being a hobbyist. Sometimes doesn't mean hobbyist doesn't mean they are no good at
Mm.
photography. I'm very sure there are a lot of hobbyists in there, and you look at Instagram. There are many hobbyists who are much more competent than professional photographer. Professional photographer only mean that I charge money. That's it. Doesn't
There
mean
are
I'm
also a lot
super
of
good.
professional photographers that are like believe they're professional and very good lah. That
Doesn't mean
stops
you're very
there.
good. It's just that you play the
Yeah,
same game,
Charge money.
the
yeah,
same way. You
yeah,
play this game more. Maybe
yeah,
doesn't mean you everyday play badminton. You are very good. You
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah. That's
it
why.
means that okay, lor. Maybe I have a certain level of
Yeah,
consistency. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay, but to answer that question, I think you will start to have a very different relationship with your gear. Okay,
yeah,
initially when you are hobbyist is fascinating, right?
yeah,
What
yeah, yeah,
f1.2, f 1.4, wow, bokeh and all that,
yeah.
because everything is rather fresh, and then you don't do it that often, So and then having gear is like buying toys, lah, right? Or not? When we are
Mm,
young, we buy toys. When we are
yeah,
grown up, these are our toys. These are our escape, right? This is our escape from work, and
mm,
then you look forward, you aspire towards different set of gear. But when you are working, and then it provides, and then when there's income based on that, definitely
mm,
you can afford more.
mm,
It's easier to justify certain purchases, but then you don't forget your relationship with this gear is different. When I buy a piece of gear, there's no more that fascination, because you know how this gear is going to look. You think, is this going to make my life easier? I think that's the first question you ask yourself. If I buy
mm,
this new camera for $10,000, okay, and this whole set of gear, and as a wedding photographer, you cannot just buy one, you have to buy two, and then have backup
mm,
redundancy and all that. So it's a lot of money, and then
mm,
change your workflow. How about the rest of your team? Should they use the same gear? Is your whole company
mm,
going to change to the gear? So it's not as simple as buying one piece lah. And then also,
mm,
that comes to the aspect of, does it justify? Do you need that thing? Do you need 50 megapixels for your shoot? For weddings,
mm,
there are a lot of candidates. I would say no. There are
mm,
some aspects where you need higher megapixels, but you do not need 50 megapixels for every single thing. You do not need that 120 frames per second. So actually there are photographers who are using cameras who are brilliant, and they use cameras that are 2 generations old because they are used to it, and then they work well for them. Like the master chef, he used his knife for 20 years. He didn't buy the newest knife every time. So I
mm.
think it becomes a tool. If it works, don't change it. When I guess when things start to break down, you find that the thing is limiting you. How come the autofocus is giving me problems? Or if they come out with a 2470, 24105 f2, then I can fulfill my finally have the dream of carrying one camera on my body. Doesn't mean you only bring one camera to your wedding. You have one camera on your body while you're shooting. I would love to do that. And then if the price point is higher, not unlimited, I will consider getting that setup lah. because it makes my life much easier. It helps me create images. Okay, for example, right, I bought, last time Sony, there's this big divide between A7 Mark II, the picture profile, right, inside the camera, and A7 Mark IV, Mark III and Mark IV. There's this divide, like, you are the old generation and you're the new generation. So in the A7 Mark IV, they got the new picture profile, right?
Yeah.
So you don't buy a camera for new picture profile, but then for me, I wanted to have a fast turnaround for my clients. So there's a picture profile in their VV2. It's very similar. It's a very good baseline for me to start editing. So I bought a camera, my second camera, just because it has that, Of course, you buy the cheapest version that has that, which is A7
Yeah,
Mark
so
IV.
I think a lot of people don't understand, right? You should buy the cheapest thing that fulfills the requirement, not the best thing, especially when you're running a business, because a lot of people think like, oh, I'm running a business, I need to like spend on the best gear so that it doesn't break down. But I think if you are talking about dollars and cents already, you need to buy the cheapest thing that fulfills the requirement.
Sometimes the cheapest thing is...
Maybe it's the use of the word cheapest. Yeah, maybe the word cheapest isn't correct.
It's relative.
I would say maybe affordable would be a better, like basically it has to either save you money or save you time, I feel. And if you can consistently...
my argument is always like to fulfill the requirements. So you need to be very clear on what you need. Because if you don't know what you need, right, you just be wasting money buying something that is maybe too high spec for what you actually need.
Oh, yes. I think I understand what you mean. It's just that when you use the word cheapest, in some people's head, right, it means like
the cheapest item possible.
Cheapest, but that doesn't mean what you're trying to say.
I don't mean that,
It must save you money, it must save you time,
I think it's relative also. Sometimes to get the job done, the cheapest camera is the A1 Mark II, because you need...
correct.
If your shot if you are a wildlife photographer, you have to take the birds in flight.
Yeah.
That's the cheapest camera. But then, I mean, the connotations with this word cheap, then they I have to buy the old one, we are not asking...
I think it's they're misunderstanding what
you earn your
the
own
cheapest
money,
means,
you can buy anything you like that make you happy. But then now we're talking about from a business aspect. You can buy all the A1, but then your outlay is so high, when I talk about redundancy, I talk about $50,000. They are going to spend how many wedding are you going to,
Yeah. I mean, the more money you spend on gear, the less money you earn, right?
Yes,
for sure. I mean, it's a fixed cost. I mean, there is very little recurring costs on gear for the short term, right? Repairs and all that, but I think there is every industry has its requirements, right? Like wedding industry, you don't need more than 30 megapixels if you ask me, right? Sorry. You don't need more than 30 megapixels, but then it's nice to have the latest and the greatest. But I also feel like having the latest and the greatest. But then when I think about how does it fit into my portfolio of gear that I need, and then does it make sense? And then is this $10,000 I'm spent going to give you that gratification in the same as maybe you can spend $10,000? You have this $10,000 burning a hole in your pocket, right? That maybe something else will give you even more enjoyment, fulfillment. Maybe go on a holiday, go on
a new bicycle.
Yeah, buy a new bike. I would definitely do that, because I have the gear, right? But maybe I don't have that bicycle that would take away all my stress. Yeah. Then the professional cyclist will say that you are you're talking nonsense again. But then
one last thing I wanna maybe raise up is I also think like the optics of using certain gear to the client, right, matters also . Like technically you can go in, take portraits with a DSLR body, as long as it looks professional to the client. If you have a softbox at the side, I think when you're being compensated, it's still fine because the optics, it still makes you look professional. But you cannot go to a shoot and then take your iPhone out, and then as in your iPhone could be more expensive than that DSLR with the vintage lens.
It definitely is, man.
Yeah. So, but I think sometimes we forget this aspect. There's a theater to being a professional also . You need to look like you're carrying professional gear, multiple bodies, to wear a hat with the branding, and then you also need to carry like auxiliary equipment, certain flashes, certain lights, certain soft boxes. Because sometimes you need to communicate value to your clients, and unfortunately, this is one way you can communicate value lah. Especially if they're paying you thousands of dollars, you know, you can't just show up with an iPhone. It might still achieve the same thing, but it might not be enough lah.
Hey, we lost Ian.
I think he need to never mind. I think he'll be back. Yeah,
Okay,
but I think we can. Have you ever experienced where like someone brought like inadequate equipment or stuff to a shoot and the client was a bit unhappy?
I have a different perspective on that. I feel that in recent, I think that the theater of paid photography is true in the past whereby the entry point for getting a full frame camera and all that. Hello. Nice to meet you.
She's observing.
Yeah. The entry point is much higher. Last time the full frame camera, right? That's the body is 5,000 plus. And you're talking about the 5D Mark 1. That's long time ago. No, 5,000 then and 5,000 now is a bit different. Slightly different lah. You know? So and then technology wasn't so advanced whereby you don't have high megapixels. When you need high megapixel, you need to have a medium format camera. There is no 100 megapixel for you, right? At that time, 50 megapixels is jaw dropping already. Now your phone also has that. So I think the divide is going down. Clients have very different. They don't know what is a professional camera look like, right? Because now phones and everything, the mystique of photography is reduced, right? And I tell you lah, you see, I can carry the A7 Mark II, right? Far away, I stand beside Ian. You don't know that his one is A1 what? Look, the same thing. It doesn't like his one
this
has
lens. You need this lens.
Exactly.
Yeah, you need the
You
the
just
lens.
need it to be big, and then like people think it's like professional.
You forgot to put the lens hood on. Yeah. You forgot to put the lens hood and the flash and the battery grip. So but I do feel now it's less because camera manufacturers are trying to make their cameras look a bit similar lah. So you see his one is the top end, and we talk about the A7 Mark II is currently available, the cheapest one.
Correct.
No difference you see from far away you can tell So
I completely agree
I can
with you
also
on
use this. And then
that
this
one
is
more
super
pro.
professional.
That one is the that one is the
so
real
professional.
professional.
But it's $500 only.
$500, yeah.
Yeah, it's like so professional.
I think, and also now if you talk about lighting equipment, influencers like when you do like live streaming and all that, because people are lighting gear is getting more commercialized as well. So you have ring light lah, you have your softbox lah. You know, people know what are these things. Last time it looked so professional because they don't know what is all these things. What is that? Yeah, so now they know like, oh, this is a lighting, right? So that one is a what, right? This is a camera. Yeah, but they don't no longer equate bigger to better. Like bigger camera to a better camera because the phone to an extent, you don't want bigger is better. Maybe the screen bigger is better lah. But then I don't want a Taiko tire, you know, like the Motorola big one. So I think there's it's limited. Right? I have not faced that in a long time. 10 years ago when I was doing a commercial shoot, yes, I was an early adopter of a Sony. I used A7 Mark II. That time is the latest, right?
Wow.
They say why you don't use industrial camera? And,
industrial camera, like what do they mean by industrial camera?
This one is more advanced than your. No, I'm not doing video. So like. Yeah, I mean, I can't afford a Hasselblad. A Hasselblad that time is $50,000.
Okay. I think they mean like the Hasselblad, Mamiya kind of
Hasselblad,
big things.
But you don't have the Hasselblad budget, if not, you have other brand law. You know what I mean? That was that, and like, huh? This is more advanced than any of your DSLR. You know, I said that this is the future. I tell you, why is this so small? Like your tourist, because you hold it at arm's length. Now everybody holds their camera at arm's length. Last time it's put in your eye. You know, and your tripod with all the lighting and all that. So,
but I think nowadays the younger generation they don't really care so much about what exact camera you use, as long as you use a camera that's not a phone lah. Right?
Yes, exactly. So I think there's still that optic, but it's just that as in no one can tell an A1 from an A9.
But don't bring a phone lah to your wedding shoot. I mean that one is I don't know lah. That one is the.
I think for a corporate shoot you still need some kind of lighting, light boxes, stuff like that, because as you said, like, it's become the de facto. It's an expectation right now. you know.
So
So even as someone who's starting off, these are things you need to consider, which might be in your blind spot right now. Just because you have a camera and lens doesn't mean you can run out, become a photographer lah, you know. Yeah.
But neither is it unattainable lah.
Oh yeah, for sure. As in, we all start from somewhere lah.
Knowledge wise is more important. Gear, you want a light box and all that, within $500 you can settle everything.
Yeah.
Right? Much
I think you don't need the
starting a
most
cafe.
expensive gear ever. You just need the correct gear lah. You need to understand
gear.
why you are using it lah.
Yep.
Yeah.
With a Godox flash, one trigger, less than $500 umbrella, you just buy Taobao.
Yeah.
And then your light stand, how much? $30 with a swivel. You can do portraits already, quite good already. You know.
Speaking of which, I think we're gonna do a portrait shoot in a week's time. I don't know when that episode will come out, but I think a lot of our viewers should stay tuned for that, because we're gonna get Chris to model the model behind Ian. You know.
So this is the model.
Yeah.
This is the model. This is one of the cameras.
Yes, one of the cameras,
I'd love to use that industrial camera.
So we're gonna give you
the
some
real industrial camera, man. You can like go to war with this.
Yeah, can knock someone in the head with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're gonna give Chris some interesting cameras to play around with and take some portrait shots, and then we're gonna see what a wedding photographer can do with no budget or a budget from 50 years ago.
Camera.
Industrial camera, we need to have that.
I think this might be one of the things you have always wanted to use also, right? This kind of camera.
Yes, I always wanted to buy. I hope that Sony come out with a one with the battery grip. It can be hollow, that's a water bottle, but it's okay. So you take photo and below you can have water to drink. I think that's more important than having a lot of battery. Your camera died, never mind. Your photographer died already was. So
hey, do you know the hassle with this camera, right, is that this battery cannot be charged inside the camera. You need another charger to charge this battery. So it's pretty dumb.
More professional, you turn up to your shoot with a lot of wire.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But I'd love to try that.
Yeah. So for our viewers out there, I think that's an episode to keep an eye out for.
Yeah.
I think we're running quite a bit late. It's over an hour already. So
I
Chris,
think most of you have quit the conversation.
but Chris, thanks for entertaining us.
Okay.
I think it's quite eye-opening to see. I think we probably will have you in another episode, because I think 1 hour isn't enough.
There's a lot of things to talk about. I think we only
exactly.
Yeah. I mean, we can talk about managing clients. That's like a whole episode by itself already. The show you have had many difficult ones.
3 episodes,
Yeah.
Then maybe we can share about the memorable clients all that next time lah.
Yeah.
So I think Chris, thanks again for being on. For those of you who need his wedding services, just approach him on his Instagram. He's more than happy to help you all out. He's a fantastic wedding photographer. I think you should see some of his images when you can. And I think he's doing a bit more on film as well. So if you're into film, I think hire him.
Learning from Prash on how to get the Polaroids right.
Yeah. So I guess that's all for this podcast. I hope actually we're gonna have another podcast soon. We're just arranging it, but we hope to have more industry professionals on so that we can learn from one another. Hobbyists, boomers, midlifers, youngsters,
Leica shooters. One day, perhaps we may be able to learn something from them. We may. Okay. We may.
Not a guarantee.
I think Prash will become one of them soon.
It's just a matter of time. It's the evolution of an analog photographer. It's the final evolved form. Yeah.
You need the hat first, then you can get the Leica.
Yeah, I think once you become a Leica shooter, right, you no longer take photos with the camera. You take photos of the camera at different locations, They are always taking photos.
It's buying a necklace. It's like wearing a necklace.
Yes. It's like out with my M6 at, Bishan or whatever.
It's a necklace. Yeah. It's not a photo. It's not a camera.
Okay, so hope to see you guys in the next video. And I think,
please like and subscribe. See you all. Bye.